Who's your commander?
Good luck.
Equip.
Move to combat.
Resolves.
Now, before you attack
Does
me,
anyone have an answer?
well played.
Good game.
Hello everyone, my name is DJ and you are watching the Jumbo Commander YouTube channel. Today I have an exciting commander for you. It is Minn, Wily Illusionist. This mono blue general will be so much fun in your command zone and will create an army that will rival Talrand. But before we get started, I want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor of this episode, and that's Cuba Majigs. Cuba Majigs are an awesome new product. There's a Kickstarter available right now. Click on the link in the description. And these are resealable, sturdy, cool looking booster packs. And so if you have a cube and you want to recreate that booster opening experience, these are perfect for you. I have a cube and I use them for that, but I also really like them for organization. I put tokens in them. When I'm building commander decks, I divide up cards and stay organized with this. And so if you're interested in this product, go ahead and click on the link in the description. It'll take you to their Kickstarter. It's a limited time only, so head on over there right now. All right, what's Minn, Wily Illusionist, doing? Well, Minn is 1 blue for a 1/3 legendary gnome wizard. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 1/1 blue illusion creature token with this creature gets +1/+0 for each other illusion you control. Whenever an illusion you control dies, you may put a permanent card with mana value less than or equal to that creature's power from your hand onto the battlefield. Minn is incredibly exciting because it synergizes with a tribal synergy. You know, you want to get enough illusions on the battlefield. It also has you drawing cards and casting spells. But also it has you really wanting permanents because you can cheat some big permanents into play. That means that Minn hits a lot of the really strong and fun to play archetypes in Magic. Minn does it all, but let me talk about how Minn does it all. The first way is card draw. We got to get these illusions on the battlefield and we got to get a lot of them because that's going to pump the power. Some of the best card draw is going to be at instant speed because you can draw your second card each turn. And so if you're drawing 2 cards on your opponent's turn, you're creating an illusion. So cards like Frantic Search will draw you 2 cards, discard 2 cards, and then leave your mana untapped to do more things like drawing cards. Perilous Research is a really cheap ability to draw 2 cards. You do have to sacrifice a permanent, but this might actually be good. Imagine sacrificing an illusion and putting another illusion or an artifact or land on the battlefield, ramping you further into the mid game. Of course, there's some artifacts that do a great job of drawing cards. I think the best is Skull Clamp. Minn puts out X ones, essentially, onto the battlefield. So if you equip a Skull Clamp, that illusion will die. You'll draw 2 cards, and it'll trigger making another illusion. So Skull Clamp is always going to be having you churn through your deck. Sensei's Divining Top will give you that top deck manipulation that can definitely be good with all these draw spells, but also tap the top to draw a card. Sometimes you might have drawn a single card a turn, and so Sensei's Divining Top can push you over the edge to draw 2 cards and create that valuable illusion. And then I think some of the best card draw has something else attached to it. I really like counter spells that have card draw attached to it. You Find the Villain's Lair, Archmage's Charm, and Mystic Confluence. All of these can counter an opponent's spell, but can also be used to draw 2 cards at instant speed on your opponent's turn. We are going to want some level of protection. This is a blue deck, and I think you're going to really love the ability to interact with your opponents or get the gas you need to keep going. This deck is really fun and gives you a lot of different decision points. There are, of course, a few creatures that help you draw cards as well. I think the best is going to be Consecrated Sphinx. That has you drawing 2 cards with each of your opponent's draw steps. That means you're creating an illusion every single turn. I want to give a shout out to a few sorceries that help us draw cards, and they're really tribally focused too. Distant Memory is kind of a win more draw spell. If we have enough illusions on the battlefield, we can draw a ton of cards. But we're already winning because we have all these illusions on the battlefield. But it's a fun tribal little card going on there. I also like Inscription of Insight. It does a little bit of everything. It's also got that scry 2, draw 2 mode on there, but I also love that it creates an XX blue illusion creature token where X is the number of cards in hand. You're going to have a ton of cards in hand, and so this will make a blue illusion and it'll pump all your other illusions as well. These illusions are going to naturally become really strong attackers because they're going to have huge power and give you benefit if they die. So you're going to want to be attacking a lot, and so a card like Reconnaissance Mission could be really good. You deal damage, you draw cards, you create more illusions, but also it has that added mode of cycling too. Sometimes you can draw a single card on an opponent's turn, and if you just cycle Reconnaissance Mission or any other cycling card, you can get to that magical 2 cards during your opponent's turn and then create that other illusion. I also really like Kindred Discovery. A lot of times if Kindred Discovery is working, you're already got your engine going, but the amount of cards they can draw when you're just pumping illusions on the battlefield is so big, it's really exciting. But Minn is not the only thing creating illusions in your deck. There's some actually pretty strong playable illusions. Let's lead off with Phantasmal Dreadmaw. I know, I'm leading off with a common dinosaur illusion, but honestly, it's a 4-mana 6/6 trample. This thing can beat down and pump your other illusions, and if someone happens to kill it, you just put something else huge onto the battlefield because it's already a 6/6. Another card that's really great along the curve is Illusory Angel. A 3-mana 4/4. Now you can only cast it if you cast another spell this turn, but do you know how many 1-mana cantrips you have, like little card draw spells? Like, you're going to be playing Illusory Angel really quickly, or you're going to be cheating it onto the battlefield with another illusion dying. Illusory Angel is pretty big, 3-mana 4/4 flyer, awesome, but Krovikan Mist can get even bigger for cheaper. It's 1 and a blue for a star flyer. It's going to be a 1/1 because it's the only illusion on the battlefield, but as you get more and more illusions, as Minn gets bigger and bigger, this is going to be a huge beater. You're going to be surprised at how much damage this can pump through. This is going to feel like a control deck, a card draw deck, that classic blue deck, and then you're going to just have this army of illusions smashing into your opponent, and you're going to be dropping permanents from your hand with Minn's ability. You're going to take over the game. There's a few other really powerful illusions. I think one of them has got to be Phantasmal Image, because you just get a copy of whatever's the best thing on the battlefield, but it's also an illusion. Let's talk about some illusion lords. There's Lord of the Unreal. Blue for a 2/2. Illusion creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Hexproof. Hexproof is a nombo sometimes in this deck, but a lot of times it's just going to protect your whole board. It's crazy. And then there aren't a lot of other illusion lords out there, but they're all generic lords. Metallic Mimic, Adaptive Automaton. They're going to pump your go-wide army and become illusions themselves. One thing that really surprised me is how well drawing cards matched with the illusion sort of theme, the tribe. Aneophage is a 4-mana 1/2, but whenever you draw a card, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. You're going to drawing cards a lot, like 2 cards a turn, so this is going to get huge. Similarly, Toothy, Imaginary Friend, is another 4-mana 1/1 illusion that gets bigger when you draw cards. Mordenkainen is a 6-mana planeswalker that creates this blue dog illusion creature token whose power and toughness is huge. It's twice the number of cards in your hand, and you could just tick that down twice to make 2 of those huge puppy dogs, pumping all your other Minn illusions and threatening to just smash in because your hand is going to be constantly full with cards. Oh, I love it. Next, we have a little bit of illusion utility. Riftwing Cloudskate is a famous card. I love that it bounces things because could be an attacking deck, and so getting a relevant blocker or something important just off the battlefield could be really good. And then we have an illusion-based board wipe with Ixodron. I love this card because it just turns all of the creatures on the battlefield that aren't tokens face down. Yes, this includes your own creatures too, but you don't care because your creature tokens, your illusions that Minn created, those are the big relevant attackers. And this strands your opponent's commanders on the battlefield. It just turns them face down, and suddenly they're just nameless 2/2s that are stuck there. And so a lot of times Ixodron can just hose entire strategies, and it can get pretty big itself. So I think this is a really fun inclusion and fits thematically with the deck as well. So Minn is pumping out illusions, but it's not the only one. Miloku the Clouded Mirror is a 5-mana 2/4 flyer. You can pay 1, return a land you control to your owner's hand to create a 1/1 blue illusion creature with flying. Usually this is really bad because you want lots of lands on the battlefield. You really want to be able to use your mana, especially in card draw decks where you might be able to draw cards and then immediately want to cast the cards that you've drawn. But one thing that's really solid about this is that you can return lands to your hand to create illusions, and then when illusions die, you can put those land cards back onto the battlefield. It makes Miloku this kind of interesting engine with Minn on the battlefield. It also has the ability to pump up your Minn illusions' power to be enormous. Like, just imagine you attack with 3 or 4 Minn illusions, and then you return 5 lands to your hand, and suddenly they're all like 10 ones? Like, that's enough to kill someone. And so Moloku has this really flexible and threatening ability to create illusions out of nowhere. I also like Murmuring Mystic. It creates flying little bird illusions, but it synergizes what we want to do anyways, which is have these little cantrips to draw 2 on your opponent's turn. And finally, you can imagine just an army of these little 1/1s or these X1s. And what do you do with them? Well, you can crack in for damage. And one of the ways that you get in there is Tetsuko Umezawa Fugitive. This 2-mana 1/3 says that creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked. Hoo-hoo. That means that your 10/1 Minn illusions just go in unblocked. No one can mess with them. You just kill someone out of nowhere. And then there's Perplexing Test. This feels a little bit like Ixodron 2, where it just gets rid of everything that isn't a token, because you're going to leave your Minn tokens on the battlefield, bounce everything else up, and then your Minn tokens are going to take over the game, just killing people. This deck is so fun. Here's the play pattern for it. The first thing is that this deck is really mana hungry because you need to draw cards and then deploy the cards that you've drawn. So we do have quite a bit of ramp in here, and a lot of it is artifact-based ramp. I think this is one of the decks where Sapphire Medallion is particularly good because you're usually casting more than 1 blue spell a turn, so you're getting a reduction of 1, 2, 3, 4 mana for every turn just from this little artifact. I also like Heraldric Banner because you are a go-wide deck and it can pump up, your Moloku tokens and your bird illusions along with your Minn tokens as well. And this deck really does revolve around Minn, and so we need to make sure that we have enough pieces to protect Minn, because we're going to ramp, get Minn on the battlefield, and then just start drawing cards. So, Fierce Guardianship, Force of Negation, these are the pieces of protection that you might need to keep Minn around, because Minn is so critical to the play patterns. And then one other thing that could be particularly good is something that draws you cards pretty regularly, and then maybe you just need a single spell from your hand to get over the threshold to draw 2 cards on your opponent's turn. Rhystic Study is great. Your opponent doesn't pay the 1, you draw a card, you cycle something else, you've drawn the 2, and then you get that illusion token. Same thing with Teferi, Master of Time. Always having the ability to draw an extra card is really good, and that time stretch could definitely win the game. And then finally, when you've protected Minn sufficiently, you've drawn enough cards, you have this army, you need to get that damage through. Tetsuko Umezawa, Perplexing Text, Ixodron, all of these things are ways to sort of push through that last little bit of damage, because this deck, in the end, is surprisingly aggressive. And that is Minn Wily Illusionist. This deck is exciting because it's attacking, it's tribal, it's card draw, it's interaction, it's interruption. It is a ton of stuff that Blue loves, and I guarantee that you will love playing this deck. All right, everyone, thanks again to Cubamajigs. Check them out on their Kickstarter. Their products are awesome, and if they're for you, go ahead and let them know that I sent you so that you can pick up some of these. They're great. And also, I want to thank Cool Stuff Inc. They're the sponsor of the Jumbo Commander YouTube channel. Pick up these singles over there right now. Get singles from Commander decks. In fact, get the Extended Art Minn right now over on Cool Stuff Inc. And when you do, use the coupon code JUMBO5 to save 5% off your order. I also want to thank my patrons. They support me every single day and make this channel happen. Thank you, patrons. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you like it. Let me know in the comments down below what additions you'll have to Minn Wily Illusionist. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.